Hey guys, in today's video I'll be covering the stats and extracurriculars that I think got me into schools such as Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, Cornell, and other top schools and institutions. By making this video, by no means am I meaning to brag off or to show off. I'm simply trying to share the things that I think helped me out in this college application process. Also, thank you so much to the wonderful comments and support on my decision reaction video. I didn't expect it to blow up like that. But yeah, I really appreciated like every single comment that I saw and like the engagement, and just like it just made me feel so good. So I might make this like a whole thing now on YouTube, just because of all the support that I've gotten. I love this community. Yeah, so with that out of the way, let's get into the statistics. Alright, so before I start, I have like my computer like right here, just because like there's so much stuff that I don't want to memorize, so I'm just going to be reading it off of here. So yeah, let's start off with my GPA. So my school calculates my GPA on a 100-point scale, where 100 is for the regular classes, 112.5 is for honors classes, and 125 is for AP classes. So at the end of my junior year, my overall GPA was 111.89, which put me as the salutatorian for junior year. I was ranked second in a class of around 330. And I think at this point I hadn't ended a semester with a grade below an A, although I believe I ended one of my quarters with a grade with a B or something like that. But I was basically a straight A student all through junior year. Some advice I can give for GPA is to just, I guess, think about like the classes that you want to take. Like, don't like kind of jump into like your freshman or sophomore year trying to load up as many AP classes as possible, because first of all, your school might not let you do that. Second of all, it might not be the best idea for like your mental health. Like my freshman year, technically we're not supposed to take any AP classes, but I took one AP Human Geography, and that was a pretty challenging course. Like I think for the time and like for that perspective, I think that was like the hardest course I've ever taken in high school, just because like the jump from like 8th grade to like now AP was just so much. But yeah, so definitely think about like your ability to perform in the class that you choose, and like also what you want to do like in the future, and like how like your classes and like the classes that you choose will line up with that goal. So moving on to test scores, I took the SAT twice. I took it once at the beginning of my sophomore year. I got a 1400, and then I took it another time at the beginning of my senior year, and I got a 1530. So I submitted the 1530, except to the schools that required both, like I think MIT and CMU. But I think for the SAT, I used that like really big textbook that College Board like sells on Amazon. It's just like chock full of like practice tests and like strategies for each question. I think the SAT is a test of like retesting. Like you take as many practice tests as possible, grade yourself, see the concepts that you need to work on, go to Khan Academy for like those concepts. Honestly, that's the only thing I really used other than that textbook is Khan Academy. I don't know about the digital SAT, it may be different, but I mean it should be relatively like similar like studying wise. But honestly, I would have, if I could go back in time, I would have gotten the SAT out of the way like no later than beginning of my junior year, because all the math that you really need is probably covered by your sophomore year. And if you're not doing like much during your sophomore year, you can just like study for that SAT and get that out of the way, because there was a lot of stress coming into my senior year studying for the SAT still. I'm glad that I got a good score though, and yeah, that's about it. So moving on to APs. So I took 9 AP classes before by the end of my junior year. That was in 9th grade I took AP Human Geography. In 10th grade I took AP Chemistry, AP US History, and AP Psychology. And in 11th grade I took AP English Language and Composition, AP Biology, AP Government and Politics, AP Calc BC, and AP Computer Science A. And for AP scores, I got a 5 in Geo, Chem, Psych, AP Bio, Gov, Calc BC, and Comp Sci A. And I got 2 4s in AP Lang and APUSH. So my advice for AP classes is to just like, if you can review like the summer before you take those AP classes, like if you know your schedule for the next year, that's a really good thing to do, especially for classes such as like AP Chem and AP Push, which have like a lot of content. I really do wish I utilized my summer to like review those concepts and like just be familiar with them before starting the school year. But I think for choosing like what AP classes to take, it shouldn't really matter. You shouldn't really be focusing on like, I need to take like a lot of AP classes, because the amount of AP classes you take is usually dependent upon like basically the amount of AP classes that your school offers, and also what makes sense for you and like what you want to study and what else you do like in school. Like if you're like the leader of a whole bunch of like things and like in extracurricular wise and stuff like that, it may not be like the healthiest option to take like 19 AP classes or something like that. Or if your school like offers 10, taking like 6 is really good then. But if your school offers like 30 and you only take like 5, that doesn't look as good. So just utilize like the opportunities that your school gives you to the maximum potential, and also do like what makes reasonable sense for you, because a lot of these classes that I took, like Chem, Psych, Lang, Bio, Calc BC, those were pretty important to like what I want to do as like pre-med and doctor, because I need to have that good basis in the sciences, basis in composition for like writing research papers, and basis in math, because math is pretty heavy for medicine. So like those classes that I took made sense. I also took some classes that were outside of my comfort zone, like AP Computer Science A was one of the hardest classes I took junior year, because I'm not like a comp sci, I'm not like a CS guy, but I was able to learn a lot of ways to like think and a lot of ways to study. So I think that experience, although I might not be going into like computer science as a whole, taking AP Comp Sci A kind of introduced like a new challenge to me, like a new thing that I have to understand and stuff like that. Like that challenge kind of helped me build my character and build my like studying skills and just improve on all those good skills of a good academic. Studying for AP exams, I guess, honestly, like all the AP like stuff that they give you, like those daily videos, watch those, do those practice tests that on AP Classroom, those progress checks, and the live review sessions actually help with like content, because they literally go over like multiple choice questions and FRQ questions that I think like have shown up on the AP test, like the specific stuff, like those concepts basically show up on that AP test. So those were like my go-to for reviewing. Senior year, I took 6 AP classes. I took AP Environmental Science, AP Literature, both AP Economics, Macro and Micro, AP Statistics, and AP Physics 1. I think like classes, especially like statistics and even physics, can help me for like medicine and stuff like that, whether it's like research or like studying for the MCAT. So, yeah, just like take classes that make sense for you, that you can handle, but then also like show that you're a rigorous student, like you're putting yourself up to that challenge, that academic challenge. So that's it for stats, classes, stuff like that. In the next section of the video, I'll be going over extracurriculars. Alright, so before I start talking about extracurriculars, this probably wasn't like the strongest part of my application, to be completely honest, just because the stuff that I did was mainly like around like the local area. I'm not saying that like, I'm not diminishing like the stuff that I did, because I'm proud of what I did, but I'm just saying like it's not like that crazy like national, international stuff that like people that I see do. But let's just get into it. So my biggest extracurricular was actually a family responsibility. So I don't want to get like too deep into it, but basically for like my entire like adult life, I guess, or since like I was 12, I've been taking care of like a disabled family member, and that's taken up a lot of my time, especially after school and on the weekends. So that's kind of where I'm gonna leave it at that, but that's my biggest, I guess, extracurricular. My second biggest one was actually something that I did this past summer. I did an 8-week paid research internship at a neuroscience lab in Philadelphia. I did neuroscience research on the vagus nerve stimulation and how that affects like our excess consumption of sugar and fats in mice. So I did handle mice, I did run experiments, I did compile data, I compiled results and conclusion from that data, and I presented it, and I linked the video of that presentation on my resume. So I think that experience really kind of solidified biomedical research and like the medical field as like a field that I would want to pursue in college. It was a really good experience, especially with the money, but also with the connections that I made, because it was like a cohort of other high school students in that area. So there, I met a lot of really cool people. I met a lot of really cool and interesting researchers. So it was just overall a really good experience, and I think I ranked it that high. My third extracurricular was a community service thing that I did. So every Friday afternoon, like in afternoon to evening, I volunteered at my local church, which runs a program to gather members of the elderly and disabled community in my county. And we just engage in like activities that like bingo, like karaoke, Pictionary, like just to engage them better and to just like create this community of support among caretakers, siblings, parents, and stuff like that. And I just think it's a really good use of my time, especially because I get to talk to like all these people and I'll hear about their challenges, taking care of people who are elderly or people who are disabled, and I'm able to resonate with that, with my experience with my family member with a condition like that. So I just think that was a pretty good use of my time. It wasn't very intensive. I mainly played like a managerial role, like signing people in, running those events, and just conversing with people in general. My fourth highest extracurricular was actually something I did the summer of my sophomore year. Yeah, the summer of my sophomore year, where it was a 4-week material science program that I did up at the University of Pennsylvania. It was mainly meant for high school juniors, but they kind of took me. I think I was like the only sophomore that they took, which I found pretty interesting and I was pretty happy about. But basically throughout those 4 weeks, we toured the Penn School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. We experienced like lab demos from the graduate students, and we were lectured by professors at Penn and just like people who were generally in the field of material science, explaining how like it's basically the basis of our real world. Studying material science is very applicable for many different fields, whether it be medicine, engineering, and other STEM fields as well. So yeah, I think that was also a pretty good experience for me to have early on, that kind of like put me on that, I guess, STEM path from early in my high school career. My next highest extracurricular was music. I've been playing the violin for 8 to 9 years now. I was the section leader of my school orchestra, but I took a break from it my junior year so that I could take another AP course. Came back to it my senior year, enjoyed it a lot. Again, I'm not like the best violinist in the world, or like the like I don't do international competitions, so I'm not like invited to play. It's just something that I've done for a really long time that I really enjoy, and I think it's helped me build like a lot of skills in regards to like team building, working towards a greater challenge, continually improving something incrementally and becoming like pretty decent, I guess. And it's something that I do want to continue in college as that like at that level, not like at such a high level, but as just like a hobby or something that I do for fun. My next highest extracurricular is that I'm the captain of my school's Reading Olympics team. Reading Olympics is a competition in my county where any high school teams, we all are given a list of books, around 40, for us to read and to take like notes on and to like just memorize the facts and the plot and the details of that. And then we have this competition in the spring where we all go to one school and we basically compete each other, see who knows the books the best. And this year we performed pretty well. I think actually the best that we've done, I think, in recent history. We got like the highest tier awards. It's not like Science Olympiad or like Quiz Bowl or something like that. It's just, again, something that like people who enjoy reading like do it. So I'm glad that I could be like a representation of like that love of reading, that love of literature and information and stuff like that as the captain. And I'm glad that we got to that level in the competition. My next extracurricular after that was Science Olympiad. I did a lot of stuff in Science Olympiad. I was a part of the chemistry lab, detector building, and forensics. So that took up some of my time, where just meeting after school, running chemistry experiments, convincing a team leaders to buy very expensive material for our detector. But again, it was a really good team building exercise. I made a lot of friends in that club. I found a lot of people who also loved STEM as much as I did. We placed decently at the invitationals and even at the states this year. This is actually the first time we made it to states and medaled at states in like our school's history. So that was a pretty significant like contribution this year for Science Olympiad, although that was after I had submitted my college application, so I really couldn't use that. But again, it's just the experience of being there that really helped. That is it for my extracurriculars. So I kind of did like a brief run through, but again, it looks like I guess I did like a lot of stuff, but it wasn't like, I guess I'm proof that you don't really need to be like the most like insane person like ISEF, like National Math Olympiad. I kind of just had decently rigorous extracurriculars along with my family responsibilities, and I utilized like the experiences that I learned from these extracurriculars in my essays a lot. I really do think my essays were the strongest part of my application, so I'll get into that in another video. I may go like school by school for essays, but I digress. But I'm just saying, like, it's really about the experiences that you take from the extracurriculars that you participate in that are really important. Like, you don't want to just be throwing like statistics at the admissions officers. You want to show that you've like grown in like everything that you've done inside and outside of school. I think that's what like extracurriculars are about. All right, so moving on from that to honors and awards. Again, I'm not like, I don't have like all these like big awards and honors. Like I was a PSAT National Merit Finalist. I got a College Board Recognition Program, the African American Recognition Program. I'm part of NHS and NEHS, AP Scholar with Distinction and Honor, and Honor Roll. Those are my awards. Like I'm like just kind of hammering home the fact that you really don't have to be like this extremely cracked person to get into these like schools. Like it's really all about like your own growth, your own personal journey, knowing yourself, knowing what you want to do. And like that, if you can like compose all those ideas into like an application, I think you have a pretty good shot at it. But that's it for my stats and extracurriculars. If you haven't seen my college decision reaction video, I think I'll make it an end card. But that's kind of how I got into these schools. I'll make a video about my essays and all 46 that I did. But I might go school by school again. But just like comment down like any other videos that you like want to see. I can talk about interviews. I had like a lot of interviews in that like for February, January. I can talk about that. But yeah, just comment down what videos do you want to see next. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day. I love you all. Thank you so much for the support. Yeah, see ya.